We are the ancestors of the future. Such a fascinating thought it is. It's real. Today we are alive, but after 50 more years, 100 years, we would be gone forever. We would become ancestors for someone, the way we have our ancestors, who lived before us, who had died before us, hundreds or thousands of years ago. The life keeps on going, the cycle keeps on moving. People come and go. The earth remains with all its beautiful monuments. The monuments that stand tall, that have come out of the tests of time and are still majestic enough to look at. Hello everyone, my name is Bharti Pawar, and these beautiful monuments on your screen belong to ancient Egypt. The history of that place is fascinating. We have learned about Indus Valley civilization, the Mesopotamia too. But nothing enchants us more than the ancient history of Egypt. We have got proof. These pyramids, the Sphinx, the underground burial chambers, all those funerary treasures, the gold and all those riches prove time and again that those people who lived thousands and thousands of years ago had such a majestic life that we can only imagine about. We are going to talk about one of the most iconic figures of ancient Egypt, King Tut, also known as Tutankhamun. And this is one of the most iconic images, iconic objects associated with the history of Egypt. This is the golden mask of King Tut. We will learn about it and about this mysterious boy king. Through the chapter Discovering Tut, the saga continues. So let us learn a little about King Tut, that he was an Egyptian pharaoh as in the ruler of an area, a king. Tutankhamun, known as King Tut, was the 12th pharaoh of the 18th Egyptian dynasty in power from about 1332 to 1323 BCE. The boy king accomplished little during his reign, but became famous when his intact tomb was found in Egypt in 1922. So this boy king was not very famous, not very known in his life. But after his death, and that too after 3000 years of his death, he became widely known, world popular. That's how it is. So some quick facts that are known today is that he was the son of Akhenaten. He became the king at the age of 9. He married his half-sister. He died at 19 years of age and was buried in the Valley of the Kings. This is the chapter number 3 from Hornbill, Discovering Tut, the saga continues. And remember students that the chapter was written many years ago, and today a lot has been found out about the boy king. You can go through the YouTube, you can go Google it also, and you will find various articles and videos associated with the mysteries that have been unraveled about this boy king. A.R. Williams is the writer of the chapter, and he has written a lot about ancient life and history of Egypt. The synopsis says that this chapter deals with a story on exploration carried out to find the mystery surrounding King Tut's death. It gives a brief description of the struggle taken by the team to extract the remains from his coffin. This chapter is a narration of the experience of researchers while exploring his coffin and highlights the process of forensic reconstruction. The story presents the efforts of archaeologists to unravel the mystery of Tut's death, which seemed more like a murder. It is about medical technology being used to investigate such intricate cases. Now there are some important characters in the chapter. Let's go through them. The first character is Zahi Hawass, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities. He is one of the members of the team team of researchers and very particular about getting the details right. It also shows that he is extremely focused on the project, and he exclaims that he was not able to sleep thinking of the seriousness of his extraction and reconstruction. So he is the main character on ground in Egypt, taking care of all the antiquities, all the buried secrets, and how they have to come out. Then one main character is Howard Carter. He was a British archaeologist who discovered King Tut's tomb in the year 1922. The discovery was sensational as it was successful after years of futile searching. He was not able to separate the body from the other belongings buried along with King's body. He justified his action of chiseling away the consolidated material from the body to raise the king's remain. So he was the one who actually discovered the tomb and the body, the mummy, in 1922. But because of chiseling, using hammer and chisel to detach the body from the coffin, he damaged the body somehow. We will learn more about it when we will go through the text. But he was the one who discovered it. Then we have Amenhotep, King Tut's grandfather, who was a powerful pharaoh and ruled for almost 4 decades. A very important character, Amenhotep IV, successor of Amenhotep III. He promoted the worship of Aten and changed his name to Akhenaten. Amenhotep IV also moved the religious capital to Akhetaten. He attacked the Amun, a major god, and smashed his idols. And then comes the most iconic kings, the pharaohs, that is King Tut. Tutankhaten, widely known as King Tut, he was just a teenager when he became a ruler. He also changed his name to Tutankhamun, reigned for about 9 years and died unexpectedly as well as mysteriously. The speculation of his death gave rise to exploration to find the truth. His mummy became the first one to be examined using a CT scan. So that is how he is one of the most prominent and iconic figure, a pioneer, because people still want to know what happened when he was alive. People still want to know why did he die, when did he die, how did he live, what happened to him, and why was he buried along with all those treasures, so much of gold and so many things that were never found with any other mummy. People are still fascinated about him after 3000 years. That's the most amazing aspect of King Tut. Well, the saga continues about discovering Tut is a description of the exploration conducted by a team of researchers. It gives the account of struggles the team faces to unravel the mystery of the death of a teenage ruler, King Tut. The chapter highlights the change in the methods of archaeology from a few decades back to the present era of modern technology. It gives you an idea about the kind of exploration conducted in 1922 by Carter when there was no modern method to extract the remains. So the chapter is not only about King Tut, about his family line, but it also talks about that how the modern technology has changed over the decades and how in 1922 the questions that could not be answered, the things that could not be done, were easily done in this 21st century, and CT scan was conducted on this mummy and a lot of secrets were out in open. It also helps you understand the revolution in the field of archaeology, which is due to the modern equipment and the sophisticated methods being used to give accurate results. The chapter helps you to understand the collaborative efforts of all the team members involved in this project. The tomb of King Tut is extracted. You will also understand the concept of life after death. A concept in ancient times was thought that you could carry all your belongings to the new life hereafter. The tomb was thus filled with belongings of King Tut like razors, necklaces, wines, which were for the king to use after death. So Egyptians in ancient times, they believed in resurrection, afterlife, and that is why when their kings or queens they died, along with their mummies, they would put in everything they would need in the afterlife. May it be the things of daily use, may it be the things of related to nature, may it be all their riches. And with all those things was found King Tut's mummy. Well, the main focus is laid on the process of forensic reconstruction of the remains to find the cause of death and the age when the king died. The modern method of CT scan is used, and King Tut's body was the first to be put under scan. The scanner picked up images of the king's body, and the anatomy was conducted much to the relief of the team members. So the picture that we see today of King Tut is because the forensic reconstruction was done after the CT scan. So now we can imagine how he used to look like, what was his height, and other physical features. So the chapter is going to deal about these particular points. The first thing is the mummy of King Tut. How was he found? Where? Who found it? And many other aspects. The funerary treasures along with which the body was buried, Carter's investigations and the problems that he faced, Tut's family history, we will come to know about that too, the death of King Tut, that is the main highlight of the entire chapter, as well as the CT scan conducted by Zahi Hawass and his team. So this is how the chapter is going to be. We will deal with it in the next session. But before closing the session, I would like to show you the quote by Oscar Wilde that the true mystery of the world is the visible, not the invisible. So the Egyptian pyramids, the monuments of history that are in front of us, holds so much of mystery and history in them that we have to look deeper, and we should have the proper insight to find out the reality. So with this, I will close it for today, and let us meet with King Tut and his mysteries in chapter number 3 of our book Hornbill in the next session. Thank you.